Hey class, today we're going to start the very first section and chapter in anatomy and physiology. This is going to be kind of an introductory chapter for the body systems and the functions that they play. So some of this may sound familiar if you've heard it in junior high or you've heard it in health class. But let's go ahead and get started. This class is called Anatomy and Physiology. These are two separate words, but we learn about them together. Now with these two separate definitions, they do work together in order to perform functions within our body. The first one is anatomy. This is just the study of the structure and the shape of its body and its parts. So these are observations in order to see the sizes of things, what things are made up of, what types of tissues, and the relationships of those parts. So our heart, it's made up of muscular tissue, it's located close to the lungs. This is all anatomy. There are two different types of anatomy. The first one is gross anatomy. These are large structures that we can easily see without the use of a microscope. These include things like the heart, bones, brains, lungs, and fingernails. If someone were to ask what is the gross anatomy of the digestive system organs, these ones should sound familiar to you. These include things like oral cavity, the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and rectum. If you had a human cadaver or a human body in front of you and opened it up, you would be able to see these structures without putting them under a microscope. The second type of anatomy is microscopic anatomy. Micro is a prefix that means small, so when you hear that, these are structures that are too small to be seen with the naked eye. These are going to usually include things like cells and tissues. Cells and tissues do make up organs and they do play a vital role. So if we use the digestive system as an example, let's look at the stomach. Stomach is a gross anatomy, but within the stomach, there are certain cells that you cannot see that still are part of it and make it up. These include the parietal cells and the chief cells. These release certain molecules in order to create pepsin, which helps us break down proteins within our stomach. The second part of anatomy and physiology is the physiology part. This is the study of how the body and its parts work to perform a function. So how does the heart function and pump blood to the rest of our body so that we have nutrients and oxygen? Other examples of physiology is how is a nerve impulse sent in order for you guys to react to things? How is your food broken down? And how do you secrete different chemicals in order to have different reactions? One thing to understand is that anatomy and physiology are inseparable. Structure, which is anatomy, is going to determine your function, which is physiology. A good example of this is your lungs at the very end have something called air sacs. These air sacs anatomy have to have very thin walls because if it did not have thin walls, it would not be able to form its physiology or function of exchanging gases to provide your body with oxygen. So for the concept link that we have to really understand is that while this year we're going to be learning about these different organ systems separately, we need to understand that all of these organ systems that we'll be talking about in the next several slides interact with each other. Just the same way that while we do learn about anatomy and then we talk about physiology, they work together in order for things to perform certain functions. Before we delve into those 11 body systems, we do have to understand the levels of organization in our body, starting with the smallest at the top and then the largest at the bottom. Starting small, we are all made up of atoms. Several atoms are going to make up cells. Tissues are made up of several cells. Then organs are made up of several types of tissues. Organ systems are made up of several types of organs. And then the last one, organism, such as us, we are made up of several different types of organ systems. So this picture is one that you can use to fill out your guided notes to show that chemical level atoms combine to form molecules. Here you can help fill out cells. Cells are made up of molecules. This right here on this image would help you fill out your tissues. Tissues consist of similar types of cells. Organs are made up of different types of tissues. Organ systems consists of different organs that work together, and then organism is all the things, all the body systems we're made up of. Now that we kind of talked about that organization, we have 11 body systems that we will cover very briefly, just give you a brief example of its major function and a couple things and organs that you might see within that organ system. We're going to start off with the integumentary system, which is actually the first organ system that we cover after we talk about cells and tissues. The integumentary system actually forms our biggest organ system, which is the skin. It is our external body covering, and it also includes things like hair and your fingernails. Some functions of your integumentary system is to waterproof our body so that we don't desiccate. If you're not sure what desiccate means, it means dry out. It also helps cushion and protect our deeper tissues from injury, so we do have that first layer of protection in our skin. It provides vitamin D with the help of sunlight, and it excretes salt in perspiration, which means you get rid of salt whenever you sweat. It does help regulate body temperature, and it is a location of cutaneous nerve receptors. Cutaneous is a word you guys might not know, but cutaneous means skin. Cutaneous nerve receptors include things like temperature, so you can identify something's hot or cold. It includes pain receptors and pressure receptors. The next body system is the skeletal system. This consists of bones, cartilage, ligaments, and joints. If you're unfamiliar with ligaments, ligaments are things that connect bone to bone. These are going to support the body and provide it with a framework so that muscles are able to attach to it in order to move. This is a site of blood cell formation, so if you've ever heard of bone marrow is typically inside of many long bones, and this is, again, where blood cells are formed. It also stores important minerals, so you guys have probably heard, hey, make sure you get your calcium for the day, and it helps protect vital organs. For example, your ribs protect your lungs and your heart. The next body system is the muscular system. This includes skeletal muscles that contract, or in other words, shorten, in order to help produce movement when they are attached to your bones. So here's an image of your skeletal muscles. It allows manipulation of the environment, locomotion or movement. It allows you to do facial expressions, maintain posture, and also produces heat when you exercise. The nervous system is a fast-acting control system. It consists of the brain, spinal cord, nerves, and other sensory receptors. These help us respond to both stimuli or signals inside our body, or internal, and outside our body, external. So basically what happens is sensory receptors are going to detect changes. Is your body temperature too high? Is it light? Do you see something run out in front of you in front of the road? These messages are then sent to your central nervous system. And you're going to learn coming up that your central nervous system is going to be primarily your brain. Your brain then is going to assess information that's happening, and it's going to cause your body to have a response or an effect. So muscles, you might have to hit your brake if something runs out in front of you, or glands might release something. It might release a chemical to tell your body, hey, I am too hot, I need to be able to cool down. Next one is endocrine system. This is actually a slow-acting control system, and the endocrine system and nervous system work really good hand in hand. The endocrine system secretes chemical molecules called hormones into the blood. Different endocrine glands are things called pituitary gland, your thyroid, your adrenal glands, your thymus, pancreas, your pineal gland, ovaries, and testes. This part of the body is controlled by hormones that allow for growth, reproduction, and use of nutrients. The sixth body system is the cardiovascular system. Sometimes this is called the circulatory system. This includes the heart and blood vessels, and the function is to pump blood and be the transport vehicle of things like oxygen and nutrients. It transports oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, even hormones. Blood also contains white blood cells, and this actually provides us with a kind of protection against foreign invaders in our body. It helps protect us whenever we get sick, we get a virus, we get any bacteria in our body. The lymphatic system, this is going to complement the cardiovascular system, or it complements the circulatory system by returning any leaked fluids back into the bloodstream. This includes lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, and lymphoid organs. Typically, the lymphatic system is sometimes called the immune system because it does house white blood cells and it is in charge of cleaning up the blood. So, lymphatic system, again, is usually involved in immunity or the immune system. Respiratory system is our next one. This includes nasal passages, so our nose, our pharynx, which is our throat, larynx, which is our voice box that allows us to talk, trachea, bronchi, and then eventually our lungs. The whole point of the respiratory system is for gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide to be exchanged with our blood. It's going to take in oxygen, give it, and go through the circulatory system to our organs. At our organs, our circulatory system is going to pick up carbon dioxide, and then it's going to release it through the respiratory system at the lungs. The ninth organ system is the digestive system. This includes your mouth, esophagus, stomach, small and large intestines, your rectum, and any accessory organs that help break down food. So this includes things you probably heard of like the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas. The whole function of the digestive system is to break down food into nutrients that we can easily absorb into our bloodstream. However, that's not the only functions. People often forget the digestive system also helps reabsorb water into our body, and it also is in charge of eliminating any feces. Feces is just waste that you're getting rid of. Again, it helps break down that food and gets rid of it in a way that we can use it. The urinary system includes things like kidneys, our ureters, our bladder, and things called our urethra. This functions in eliminating nitrogenous waste. Now, nitrogenous waste is a pretty big word, and all that's talking about is your urea or your pee. This is important for our body because it helps maintain an acid-base balance, or our pH levels within our blood. It helps regulate our water, so if we have too much water in our body, it helps get rid of that. If we need more water in our body, it helps keep that back. It also is important for electrolyte and a balance, so if you've ever had to drink Gatorade or Powerade, electrolytes are very important for our body in order to perform its functions. And then it also helps regulate normal blood pressure. Our last organ system is our reproductive system. This, of course, functions in producing offspring. For males and females, they include different organs. For males, this includes your testes, scrotum, penis, any accessory glands, and the duct systems, or the systems that is used to move things throughout the reproductive system. Testes produce sperm, and the duct system actually carries sperm from the scrotum or the ball sac to the exterior structures. For females, this includes ovaries, your uterine tubes, your uterus, and your vagina. Ovaries produce eggs, and the uterus actually provides a site for development of a fetus that will eventually become a baby. This is the very end and last organ system. Again, if you have any questions, just please ask. If there was any blanks in your notes that you weren't for sure what to put down, ask. And I hope you guys have a great day.